head-scratcher. He's never had an MVP vote in his career. Joined once again by the Hall of Famer, Tony Gonzalez. But Acho, start with you, practice squad. Is this the year Russell Wilson finally wins the MVP?
I'm going to ignore that slight and get to the task at hand. Yes, it is the year that Russ wins MVP, but it's the same thing that I told you on Friday. Remember that cafeteria line analogy. They've gone through the line. That is Patrick Mahomes. He went through with his tray. MVP, please, one scoop. Got his MVP. Then Lamar Jackson went through with his tray. Yes, I'll take one MVP as well, please. Got his scoop. He kept it pushing. Tom Brady, he's got his scoop. He kept it pushing. Russell Wilson is yet to get his turn at the MVP. The only way Russ doesn't get the MVP is if we see something miraculous out of some Lamar Jackson. But we've already seen something miraculous out of Lamar Jackson. We've already seen something miraculous out of Patrick Mahomes. What we haven't yet seen is Russell Wilson get what many would argue he deserves in his MVP season. But the biggest reason, I think, is this. It's no longer opinion. It's no longer emotional. Now it's just statistically factual. I think for the first time since 2015, the Seahawks will have a top 10 offense and defense. The last time the Seahawks had a top 10 offense and defense, many people argued Russ should have got the MVP. The only reason he didn't was because, one, Super Cam got the MVP, the same Super Cam that knocked Russell Wilson and those Seahawks out the playoffs. So this is the year that Russ gets it because it appears Pete Carroll's going to let him cook. But more than that, the Seahawks should win the division handily, especially if they keep playing like they played yesterday. And Russ Wilson is in his prime, and he is in his bag. I think he gets it this year.
No, he doesn't get it this year. And who in the hell knows right now after week one? Oh, Acho does! Because Acho is leading the charge on Overreaction Mondays. He's already done it in 2 blocks. Tom Brady, doomed, team done after 1 week. And then he looks at a situation where we're talking about Dak Prescott. Oh, he's done. He's not going to make any money. He's going to be done after 1 week. But now he flips it, and he's like, Russell Wilson's finally going to win it all after 1 week when he's never received a vote, despite being Russell Wilson, the great. So let's talk about what came out of this week, which we all talked about, which is let Russell Wilson cook, and they did. And we saw the passing attack, even though it was a lot of screens and outlets, but still, we saw Russell Wilson cooking. And then everyone took from this game, Russell Wilson's going to win the MVP, and they started to highlight 2 line items, 2 statistical categories that said, this is why Russell Wilson's going to win the MVP. Look at his completion percentage. What was it, around 88%? Oh! And then look at his quarterback rating. What was it, like 142? Oh! And you know what's funny about those 2 stats? Russell Wilson wasn't even the best in both of those stats. Think about it. Gardner Minshew, I know he ain't winning an MVP, but he had the highest completion percentage after week 1. Acho, where's your overreaction to that? Oh, let's talk about quarterback rating. Oh, he didn't even have the highest quarterback rating. That was the reigning MVP in Lamar Jackson with 152. Where's your overreaction to that? So while you're in your lunch line getting scoops of food, the guy who already has the trophy, who already got a scoop, might just still be in line saying, give me another scoop. But Hall of Famer, set him straight.
You know what? If they keep calling plays the way they did, and I think that has a lot to do with it. I remember looking back at Tom Brady's career when he first started. He was winning Super Bowls, but a couple of times he didn't even go to the Pro Bowl. In years, I think, 2 years in a row, he wasn't even in the Pro Bowl. But they were winning Super Bowls. They were having success. And I look at Russell. I think Pete Carroll, the way he calls his plays, the way he runs his teams run, he wants to establish the run. He wants to play good defense. This is what has given them great success. But Russell Wilson, just like Tom Brady, after year 2000, when 2007 hit, that's when Tom started getting MVPs of the league and started really lighting the league up instead of being, quote unquote, just a really good quarterback and a game manager. Russell Wilson is capable of doing whatever you want him to do. He is at that elite status as a quarterback. So it's really just up to the offensive coordinator and let this man throw. It shows he can do it either way you want. You have it your way. It's Burger King for him. And he's a he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. And he's right up there with, in my opinion, he's right up there with Lamar. He's right up there with Mahomes. To me, you can put him in a basket and I'll pick one of them out and I'll start my franchise with him. Russell Wilson's a leader. What he is, what you see is what you get. So just dial it up. You want to run the ball, he'll do it. You want to throw the ball, he'll do it. And he'll get MVP if they call the plays like they have been after 1 game.
Marcellus, sir. It's not an overreaction.
Okay.
I'm not throwing the haymaker just yet. I'm working the body blows. I'm working the body.
I ain't there.
It's not an overreaction to say this.
What?
DK Metcalf.
Beast.
Tyler Lockett. Healthy,
Nice.
big play guy. Greg Olsen now working in between the hashes in the middle of the field for Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson has never had top flight receivers. He's made Doug Baldwin overachieve. He allowed Curse to go out and ball out. Jimmy Graham never really meshed with the Seahawks. So if you look at Russell Wilson, this isn't an overreaction because what did I tell you? Not only has Russ been good, but we've rarely seen the Seahawks have a thriving offense and a thriving defense. Only 5 times in Russell Wilson's career has he done what he did yesterday. That's 4 touchdowns with no picks with 300+ passing yards. But the other 4 times he did that, Marcellus, the Seahawks lost 2 of the 4 times. So that shows me that even when Russ has been great in years past, the Seahawks are still holding him down. But now you add a Pro Bowler safety to the back end, and you add a defense that's going to contribute. Now when Russ balls, the Seahawks collectively are going to ball. That's why this isn't an overreaction. Finally, Russ is going to see and get the credit that he deserves. Yes, the media have been hyping him up. Seahawks fans more than anybody. They'll hype Russ up. But I think the world is now finally going to see, exactly what Russ is doing and how the team is having success because of it. But the last thing I'm going to say, if you check the stats, Russ also led his team in rushing yards as well. So if Russ goes on this season leading in rushing yards and leading in passing yards, how can he not get the MVP?
I want everyone in America to witness what just happened to my man Acho.
What happened?
Floyd Mayweather was my neighbor, the homie, and I used to talk to him about what really was going on in fights, especially early. Like, how was he come up with his game plan? What did he change? What did he learn in the early rounds especially? He broke it down one time. He said, in the first round, I always throw a check punch. And that check punch, pow, is that straight right to the midsection. And he said, the sound that I hear from my opponent lets me know how this fight's gonna go. That's crazy to me. But I just heard a different sound out of Acho in his second lap around because I hit him with that check punch. Pow. And he realized that, maybe I am overreacting to Russell Wilson and his greatness because his greatness so far hasn't gotten him one single MVP vote yet. It's amazing that all we're saying, and let's just distill this for what it is that there are going to be a lot of other great quarterbacks in this MVP discussion. But if there's a tie, it's about time to give it to Russell Wilson because he has the best story and he's been deprived from the MVP conversation. So that's what's going to happen. But here's the problem. This year, not only do we have Lamar Jackson, who played insane yesterday, Patrick Mahomes, who played insane on Thursday, but Aaron Rodgers is like, yoo-hoo, I got a great story over here. We were 13-3 last year, but I was having tension with my coach and our organization. Now, let's just go out there and see how I play in terms of measurables. Now you got A-Rod, Lamar, and Patrick Mahomes going out there with Russell Wilson, who's going to be right there in terms of numbers, but is trying to win with the trump card of having a better story. I'm not into all that humanitarian awards. You got to get it with your muscles, and you got to get it through performance. We'll see if Russell Wilson can sustain this, because it's been years past where Russell Wilson was in the conversation earlier in the year, and then what had happened was Mahomes or Lamar Jackson said, no thanks, I'll take that trophy.
Yeah, you know what? I agree with you. There's a lot of really good quarterbacks out there that we got a long season left. It's just one game. But I will say this, if they continue to call the plays like they did yesterday, where they're giving them they're letting them cook, letting them go out there and throw that football. He certainly has the talent with all the guys that Acho mentioned. You got Olsen down there now, who's a proven tight end. He told me that he feels better than he's felt in years. Remember, this guy's a guy who got 1,000 yards 3 times in his career. If he can get anywhere close to that, to go along with Lockett, to go along with Metcalf, to go along with the running game now with Carson in the backfield, if they're incredibly balanced and they're going to be tough to stop. It's just about what the offensive coordinator wants to do. You want to let him cook, let him throw the ball more than they have in the past. He'll definitely, I think, by the end of the season, be in that conversation with all those other great quarterbacks.
Yeah, you're going to make it tough on these MVP voters. If they're using their eyes, there are going to be other quarterbacks in consideration. If they're just using their ears and hearing those violins, then maybe it's time to finally give Russell Wilson what he deserves. Coming up, the Clippers blew it over the weekend, messed up my whole weekend, and now we got to play a game